Okay, now I'm delighted to be joined by Melissa Beckett, who is the Entrepreneur Development Manager at the NatWest Entrepreneur Accelerator in the Northeast. Hi, Melissa.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, Paul.
Okay, for anyone that doesn't know what the NatWest Entrepreneur Accelerator is and what it's all about, do you want to give a bit of a brief overview?
Yeah, sure. So as part of NatWest, we have an entrepreneurship team who lead on our Entrepreneur Accelerator program. So we have a team of around 80 people right across the country who run 12 accelerator hubs. So we have one in each major city. So ours is based, the Northeast one is based in Newcastle on the Quayside, and I'm the Entrepreneur Development Manager for that hub. So ultimately I raise awareness of the hub, make sure the community is thriving, make sure we're connected across the business ecosystem. But ultimately the program is to help businesses start, grow and succeed. So we have programs for businesses right from people right at the beginning, right with, thinking about ideas, and actually trying to work out if an idea has legs and, how to create that business model and create that scalable business model and really get it off the ground, right through to businesses looking to grow and scale. So wherever you are in your business journey, we've got a program that can support you and provide that full wraparound kind of support, from one-to-one coaching, mentor support and networking, through to physical spaces. Well, when we're allowed back into the physical hub, and that community of entrepreneurs. So there's lots to it, but it's a world-class program. It's funded by the bank as well, which is amazing, and the value that the businesses and the entrepreneurs get from the program is really second to none. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, has it been going 4 years now? Did it start in 2016, but it was called Entrepreneurial Spark back then?
Yeah, so we opened the program itself has been going for longer than that. So yeah, it was started by Entrepreneurial Spark, and that was who NatWest, the bank, partnered with, and launched the program with. But the bank brought it in-house, fully under the umbrella of the bank and the group, in April 2018. But the Newcastle hub itself, that Northeast hub, we opened the doors in, I think it was around July, August 2016. Yeah. So a little while now.
Yeah, well, you've gone through a lot of changes since then, obviously, because right at the beginning I was involved I was doing a bit of mentoring, and I was I've been coming along to a lot of the events, and for Startup Week as well, we usually do the final day 5, the Keep Going on Pivot. We normally do it in the hub in and that's always worked really well. It's always been a really great vibe and a good audience down there, and the perfect way to do that. And the facilities are fantastic, and I'm not just saying it, but the support and the training and the workshops that you run are excellent. So your role's changed as well, hasn't it? Because you were is it an entrepreneur enablement manager? Is that what it is?
Yes, we used to call them enablers. So ultimately, so every hub around the country has 2 coaches or acceleration managers, is what we call them. And that was the role I did until about October last year. So for the past kind of 3 years or so, I was one of those acceleration managers. And the role of that person is to work one-on-one with about 40 businesses each per month. And that's one-on-one coaching every single month. Yeah. And that's really where we see the true acceleration and where the businesses get that real value, because that's where that coach will hold them to account for their actions and their goals, and help them set those actions and goals, really challenge them, but constructively, and help them kind of zoom out and actually look at where they're going, where they've been, where they're going, what they need to do to make things happen. But it's not about spoon feeding. It is about really drawing it out of them, and working with them. It is that best friend, worst enemy relationship. So they're the person asking those really difficult questions, maybe that people around them or at home aren't asking. So it's a crucial element of the program, and something that is so rewarding as a acceleration manager to work with those businesses one-on-one. Obviously we work with all sectors as well, so it's not just, many accelerator programs focus on tech and digital, whereas we work with any sector. So the variety is brilliant, and you really do see that. It's brilliant to see that journey that they go on from when they start to when they leave the program.
Yeah, well, I think they are definitely some of the biggest strengths of it is that it's sector agnostic. Anyone can be part of it, but definitely that holding people to account, because when you are self-employed, if you are running the business and you don't have anyone to hold you to account, you can be busy and you can be making progress and be doing all kinds of stuff, but still you could just not float along, but you could just stay at the same level and never take it further. So I think it is definitely that's kind of the thing from the outside looking in, but being a bit arguably closer than a lot of people. But that's the reasons why I've wanted to be part of the latest program as well.
Yeah, so you're because I know like you said, you've been involved since the start, haven't you, as like a mentor, and we've done various things together in terms of startup like that we've supported with, which has been invaluable as well. But yeah, you've recently joined the latest cohort in April. So I'm curious to know why did you decide now to join the program?
Yeah, sure. So it's coming up to 4 years since I started my own business, so 2016, and definitely I think when it first started and it was called Entrepreneurial Spark, I felt like it was very aimed at pre-start and very early stage businesses, so not what I wanted. I didn't want to. I didn't feel like I would benefit from being part of that program, and not sounding arrogant, but I felt like I was a bit beyond that, you know what I mean? Because I've been working for youth enterprise schemes, I've worked in local enterprise agencies, I've done a lot of work in and around startups for a long time, like 15 odd years. So I thought I'll be better placed as a mentor or kind of just being in and around it. But then, just after last year, all of last year really, but the second half of last year in particular, I thought, okay, I've got to a certain point where I'm not a startup anymore. I'm an established micro business. I'm doing pretty well, but I know I could do better. I feel like I needed that extra kind of push or support around me to help me take things to the next level. So and last year, I definitely noticed like the cohort, the people that were on the program changed. You know, it wasn't such early stage. There was a lot of much later stage and already successful companies making some of them making quite a lot of money already. But when I saw that they were joining the program, and then just the conversations I was having with people like you and other guys in the team, I thought, okay, maybe now is the time to get involved. And actually, the Founders Friday events that we were running every month. So I had Joshua and Dale from your team. They both spoke at it, and I was just sat there listening to Joshua and Dale, and they were saying, the next program, the deadline's coming up, and I just thought, what the hell? I'll just apply. So I applied there and then.
Like, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer in my eyes. But if someone's looking to grow their business, if you have that mindset and you want to develop your mindset and you want to develop the business and you want to really push things forward, you want to grow your community, your own network, it's free. Obviously it's not free in every respect, because we ask for your commitment and your engagement in being involved and everything, but in terms of funded, it's a funded program, so why?
I think a few things last year. So I joined the Scale Up Northeast program. So I've been getting some coaching and mentoring through that, and that is technically, I think I was not quite at when that first started, they had a minimum threshold of turnover, and I was way below that. But if they think people have the potential to really accelerate the growth, they invite people on. So they invited me to be on that program, and I've really enjoyed and benefited from that. And then business doctors as well. I was getting some business growth strategic advice from Alan on that.
Yeah, Alan's great.
Yeah. So Andrew Wesson at Scale Up Northeast, Alan Hodgkiss, business doctors, a few other people that are in my network that I've been getting some advice and support from, helping me think a bit bigger and being a bit more ambitious. And then obviously the NatWest program that I've joined, just all those things. The timing was just right for what I wanted to achieve this year.
And I think that's brilliant to hear, Paul. And I think that's what it's all about. So the people you've just mentioned. So my role, I'm really, really passionate about collaboration and making sure that as the North, that we all do the right thing for the Northeast, in terms of the business community and from an economic perspective. And I'm all about collaboration. So the people you've just mentioned, I'm regularly kind of speaking to the people that run the other programs. Alan is one of our mentors. I speak to him on a regular basis, and he comes and supports businesses. And so it is all about making sure that our accelerator program, our hub in the Northeast, is at the heart of all of that. And we can really, whether if you've been someone that joined the program that didn't know about those other people or didn't know about those organizations, or on your business journey, that's kind of my job to connect you with those people as well and bring everybody together. And that's really where we think we can add value. And obviously you're super connector anyway from the Northeast, so about them, but which is brilliant, and benefiting from them. But it is all about that community and benefiting from the network, isn't it?
Well, the other things as well. So Free Agent is our headline sponsor for last year and this year, and the online event that we're doing. Free Agent is now owned by NatWest Group, RBS Group. And then I've just been really impressed with everything that I've seen that NatWest has done over the last 4 years in particular. And I wanted to get a bit closer to the senior leadership team at NatWest. And also some of the partners that you've got as well, because I'm thinking more nationally and internationally with business. So I thought, okay, we like the partners you've got on board through the program, so I'd like to get closer to them. And then I think I've been talking quite a lot about the opportunity for the Northeast and Scotland working more closely together. So the fact that NatWest and RBS is primarily a Scotland based business, then that makes sense for me as well, because I've been going up to Edinburgh quite a lot and inviting Scottish entrepreneurs and business leaders coming down and getting more delegates coming down as well. So and all those things combined just makes sense.
And that's exactly it. So it is about people like yourself, entrepreneurs like yourself, wanting to really make use and maximize those opportunities. And that's what we really encourage across the whole program, because there are 12 hubs around the country. It just because you're in the Northeast or the Newcastle hub doesn't mean you can't speak to the entrepreneurs in the Brighton hub or the London hub or the Edinburgh hub. If you want to go to a workshop, once we're allowed back into the physical premises, if you want to physically go to the Edinburgh hub for one of their workshops, if we can make that happen, you can. And that just increases and extends your whole reach, overnight. But you have to do the work to make that happen. You need to, speak up and introduce yourself to the people there, and etc. But now, obviously, the current situation that we're in, with COVID-19, it's actually lent itself quite well, even more so to that network side, because the Northeast hub we've actually partnered a little bit with Brighton hub. So we're having regular calls and various activities and workshops and events with the Brighton entrepreneurs. So again, it's a great opportunity, and the guys we're working with, the businesses we're working with, are absolutely loving the fact that they're literally put in front of a whole hub of and cohort of people down in Brighton, which they wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet. So it's just full of opportunity that you just need to kind of grab and go with. So I'm really keen to, obviously we talked a little bit about Startup Week, and this week is Startup Week online, which is exciting. So loads of great content and learnings and speakers and everything. But I'm really keen to understand, over the last 4 years, what's been would you say has been the biggest challenge for Startup Week? I don't want to put you on the spot there, but
biggest challenge. I think, I don't know, actually, so go back a bit, right? So Startup Week to me, like in some ways, it's a very sort of personal thing, I suppose, because it's the perfect embodiment of who I am and what I like to do. You know, it's like bringing people together. It's all about community. It's all about the Northeast, growing the economy. It's giving a platform to like hundreds of people on stage, off stage. There's all this social media activity around it, all content. It's just everything that I love doing, right? In a physical event, right? So, but so I'm really proud of what we've done. I mean, you know, to go from a standing start to 600 people the first year. So the first 2 years we had just over 600. Last year we had just over 800. This year I was aiming for 1,000. And then obviously coronavirus has happened. It was terrible, but had to pivot, you know, to do an online version this week. But actually curating the speakers, pulling the content together, I find that really easy. That's what I'm good at. I think I'm almost like a talent spotter. I'm good at finding interesting, unique speakers and content. And lots of people will say, wow, that speaker was amazing. And that speaker flowed really well into that one. How did it? And it's like, well, yeah, quite a lot of thought goes into this, you know, they're not just randomly thrown together, but I just love all that side of things, and marketing and promoting the event is I enjoy that. And so I think when you do a big physical event, what a lot of people don't realize is because they maybe just see it at the very end when they turn up, but it's like an all year round thing. And definitely for me, I mean, coming up to this one, I've spent 10 months planning it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, that's a hard slog, and I think the hardest bit is keeping my own motivation up. You know, because you go through phases where you really can't be bothered, and then something happens and you get really excited, and you get some good news, or you get a bit positive media coverage, or you get a big surge in ticket sales, or you get some sponsorship on board or whatever. But yeah, keeping yourself motivated for a long period of time when you might not necessarily get the rewards immediately.
Yeah, and with that, how do you, because we do focus a lot on entrepreneurial mindset and the importance of entrepreneurial mindset when you are starting, growing on that whole business journey. You know, it's important through life and business, but how do you cope? What are those, how do you, you know, really, I guess, engage your own mindset and your own growth mindset when having to face some of those challenges or that low mood? Because obviously everybody has that. It's up and down, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you kind of cope with that?
I mean, I do, obviously it's a lot, you can't do it now, but I do get a lot of energy from other people, right? So I do like being surrounded by positive, like motivated people. So I get a lot out of that. So from networking and going to other events and, you know, listening to the right sort of podcasts or videos or reading the right sort of books and going to other people's events as well. You know, I think that's important. There's a lot of people who just don't go to events at all, and even event organizers who don't go to other people's events or don't support them. But that's where I get a lot of ideas and inspiration. So I've been going up to Edinburgh quite a bit. There's some really good events up there, like Turing Fest, which last year, Edinburgh Startup Summit, which is like a one-day kind of bit like Startup Week, but a one-day event. I've been going to Lisbon Web Summit for the past 2 years. Which, when it comes to that, is unreal. Like the size of that, you know, that 70,000 people come together over 3 days in Lisbon. But when that started, that was only 300 people. They've gone from 300 people in Dublin to 1,000 people, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. You know, it's just gone up and up. So going somewhere like that and seeing what's possible, you know, if you really want to take it as big as.
And that's the power, isn't it? I think of surrounding yourself by, what do they say? You become most like 5 people you surround yourself with. And I think it's, you know, so I think it's fundamental to make sure that if you're on that kind of journey and, you know, you are you take your inspiration from other people and your energy from other people. And I think it's so important to do that kind of thing and surround yourself with like-minded people, which, you know, is what Startup Week's all about. It's what our Accelerator program's all about. It is about that community of that hive mind, if you like, you know, people coming together and just talking, sharing challenges, discussing ideas. Yeah, I think it's a really important point that you mentioned there.
Yeah.
In terms of, I guess, what you've learned, what are you going to do differently moving forward, based on if you take the last 4 years, everything you've learned? Obviously it's gone really well, numbers of, you know, attendees have increased every year. What does Startup Week look like moving forward, and what have you learned, what are you going to implement?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, the first year was just a case of like, can I do it? You know, it was like, I've got an idea. I think it's needed. I think people will benefit from it. So that was the first year. Then we did it, and in some ways it was like, bloody hell, I can't believe we did that. Like that was amazing. And then the second one was like, okay, can we do it better, like bigger and better? But in the meantime, we did a 1-day scale-up summit. So we basically did the 5-day Startup Week. Then we did a 1-day scale-up summit 6 months later. Then we did the 5-day Startup Week 6 months after that. So we did three events in 6 months in between. Then so that was the second Startup Week. Then the third one, it was like, okay, like how do we make it even bigger and try to make more money and more sustainable? Because there's not a huge amount of money to be made from the event. You know, it is. Yeah. Most of the money gets reinvested back into the region or suppliers or just to keep us going. But it's not like we're rolling in money and make money in other ways from consultancy fees and so last year was an interesting, challenging year in lots of ways, but like I set myself a target to go from 600 to 700 or 750. That's what I was aiming for, and we had just over 800. So I exceeded my targets, right?
It was amazing as well.
Yeah, amazing, and like it was amazing. Like the whole event was amazing, and the feedback was amazing, and yeah. But in trying to hit that target, in some ways I was really successful, in other ways not as successful as I wanted to, because in trying to hit that target, I spent more money. So at the end, I made less money from the event, you know, because I was so focused on hitting that target. And when I reviewed it afterwards, I probably not wasted because it's all brand building or whatever. Yeah. Spent $8,000 on marketing advertising activities that probably didn't pay off. It was a bit of a experiment to see if it would work, and now I know it doesn't. But thinking like if I'd kept that money, then we would have had a bit more profit. Yeah. And not the business would have been in a better shape, I suppose. But also I was just knackered at the end of it again, because there's a lot of human effort goes into it. Yeah. All year round.
And it's mainly yourself, isn't it? I know you've got a team around you that help.
Yeah.
Organise things, but in terms of the everyday, that kind of lead up to it, those 10 months you talked about in terms of planning, that's predominantly you, is that right?
Exactly. So I mean, my business plan digital is me. So I basically do pretty much everything all year. Yeah. But then I have a team, like a loose team of freelancers that I bring in as and when I need them to, and they really get involved near the end, more on the delivery side of the events, which they're amazing, and I couldn't do it without them. But and that's, up until now, that's been the right way to do it, because I've run a very lean operation, you know, because there's not a huge amount of money, and I can't afford to have full-time staff or part-time staff, and so I try to keep the overheads down. But again, that's been good up until this point. But if I want to grow the business to where I want it to be, I can't just do that. And great as they are for delivering events, they're not necessarily the right people to run the business. Yeah. And the way I want it to be. And if I go back to the very start, like even before I did the very first Newcastle Starter Week, my original idea was to do an online platform.
Yeah.
It was to have like an online matchmaking, signposting, SaaS platform.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to some investors. I got a lot of people interested in it. But then I thought, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an offline community first, physical events, and then I'm going to come back to doing an online platform around it. So that's what I've done the last 3 years. Coming into this is the 4th year now. I built that community, that offline network through the physical events of the Startup Week events, the Scale Up Summit events, the Founders Friday events. We've got, I think it's 2,700 people who have been to our events now over the last few years, plus all the social media following of the business and me. So now the plan this year was do Startup Week, the physical event, make it as big and as successful as it can be, and then shift the focus to being an all year round online platform, called Tribes. So that was the plan. That is still the plan, right? But that would be like an actual platform that would be developed, like a software service platform. But that needs money and it needs investment and it needs proper team around that. Yeah,
it's a completely different business model, isn't it? But
and then it'll become more, that'll be the all year round thing. And then the events just become sort of the icing on the cake. But the whole coronavirus situation, in a way, has kind of forced me to do that a bit sooner in a different way. And although the SaaS platform, the Tribes platform, is not there yet, that's not ready yet, I know what I'm going to do with that. But in the meantime, moving everything onto the private Facebook group. It's kind of like a precursor to this Tribes platform, because and it seems to be working so far. It
seems to be gaining traction every day, and that's, I think, to be honest, I think it's probably working out the right way, because we always say in the hub, we always talk about doing an MVP first before you go and put tons amount of resource and money and time into it. Test it first. And I think it's not so much about where people do it and what the platform is. It's about that, what you make it mean, and do people get value from it? And if that's a private Facebook group that you test it in, then that's doesn't really matter, does it? But it seems to be gaining traction every day and engagement. So it's something right.
Well, fingers crossed. I mean, definitely. The last month, like a lot of people, just it's been about just steadying the ship and just trying to stop as much money going out and trying to get some new money coming in, and then just figure it out in my own head, like how I was going to do this in a way that made sense, and communicating with, making sure that the sponsors and the speakers were happy and that the delegates were happy. So what we've done is we're still planning to do a physical event in September. So what should have been happening this week, the 5-day physical event has been rescheduled for September. So the venues have been booked, and fingers crossed we can still do it. But who knows right now whether not just whether we can do it, but whether people will actually want to go to big events in September, or whether they'll be still a bit nervous about that. So anyone who's already got a ticket for the physical event, they've got that in September, but they also get access to the private Facebook group from now until the end of September. And then the online event that we're running, some people are just buying tickets for that at the minute, and that gives them access to all the content being shared during the week, but also until the end of May. And then the idea being that if they want to remain in the Facebook group, they have to either buy an additional ticket for the September event, or they just buy a membership separately, which will be, I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet. But, so it's moving away from just such an events-based business to being an online membership community with events on top of it.
Yeah. And I think, that we are in strange times at the moment, aren't we? And I think one of the best things about this is how much it has brought people together. And I think Startup Week and the whole concept of Startup Week online, and the fact that yes, your hand has been a bit forced to do that now, but the positive in that is you are bringing people together in a time that where they need it, and that connection is more important than ever. And we're trying to do that within the Accelerator and keep our community together. And I know lots of people are in our community or in Startup Week community as well, and it's all kind of one big happy family. But I think it's crucial, and so I think it's only good can come of that concept in terms of what you're doing and building that online.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
In terms of you joining the program, Accelerator program, and so on, I'm really keen to know what you want to get out of the program. So I know we've talked a bit about that network and you thought now is the right time, but obviously everyone takes certain different things from it, whether it is the events or the network or the coaching. Like, what is there anything in particular that you really want to get out of the program and think, actually this is where I want it to help me get Plan Digital or Startup Week?
Again, I think I spent a lot of time giving help and advice to other people, or signposts, or like matchmaking, which I do love doing, right? But it's nice to have people doing that for me for a change,
Yeah.
I don't know everything, obviously. I know quite a lot, and I am well connected, and I do have good insights and knowledge that other people don't have. But yeah, it's about me just growing personally and professionally through the business, but also I think the Zoom sessions that you've been running have actually worked really well. So I think NatWest has done well to pivot as well to deliver things online. And although some of the topics are things that I kind of know, still good to have a refresher.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget, it's good to, some of it, it's not basic because it's fundamental, but it's just, once you're up and running, you've been going a while, you kind of you forget, you think, oh well, yeah, and you move on. So that's been really good for me to have a refresher. And then of all the topics so far, I mean, the one that I'm really interested in is pitching, because I've never actually had to pitch. I've been to loads of pitching competitions. I know what a good pitch looks like. I know what a bad pitch looks like. I've done lots of presentations. I've done panel discussions. Like, speaking is not a problem.
Yeah.
But speaking in a structured format that is most effective, that's not something that I've really given much thought to or had to do anything for. And again, and because I'm at that point where I am starting to talk to investors, or have been talking to investors for the past 12 months, it's something that I'm gonna need to do more of.
Yeah.
Because I can talk a lot.
Yeah, I think the key thing about pitching, so people often say, like, because you're right, we do, it is a focus of the program, but it's for a really important reason. And it's not so that, you can go to a networking event and just, reel off a cheesy pitch, about yourself or your business. The main point of it is, it's the process you go through, the process we work with businesses and get them to go through, that's fundamental. Because what it does is, as you sit down and actually look introspectively about, right, what do I actually want this person in front of me to know about my business? What are the main things? What's going to keep their attention? What are those key things that you're going to include in that pitch? And it's the process you go through that actually really makes you think about, how do I talk about my business? Because in your head, quite often we think we know what's going to come out, but you've probably been there, we've all been there at a networking event. 10 minutes, you ask someone what they do, and 10-15 minutes later, you still have no idea what they do. And it's you're looking to find the exit. So it's about being able to construct something and articulate it in a concise way that's appealing and makes people go, actually, I want to know more about that. And it is that process that you go through, because as you learn how to think about your business, it leaves kind of, becomes ingrained in your brain. So those one-liners, you can take them wherever relevant in other situations and use them. You know, it's not necessarily about reading off your pitch at a networking event, but so it is really key, and it does make you stop and think about, actually, what do I offer, and what do people care about, you know.
I think that's good, and you definitely notice it when I've seen people at the start of the program, and then at the end of it, the change. Some of them go through a massive change, and might start really nervous and not able to string it together, but then by the end they're like amazing, world class.
It helps with confidence massively, and I know a lot of ours have pitched at Startup Week as well,
and some of them have given keynote talks.
I know, like Lizzie, and it's amazing. But I think it's I think our kind of partnership in terms of, you know, us sponsoring Startup Week and things that we have for the last few years, I think it's really key, and I think that relationship is really relevant, you know, in terms of what we're trying to do and the communities that we work in and across the Northeast.
Well, I'm very grateful of all the support that we've had so far. So do you want to talk a bit about, we've talked a bit about the program, but then you got some really interesting stats as well about the how many entrepreneurs have been supported through the program, and
so
just in the Northeast as well.
So just since since we took the program in house in terms of NatWest, since April 2018, as a program, we've supported just over 18,000 businesses. So whether that's teams or individuals, so 18,000 businesses, and in the Northeast Hub, it's around 3,000 since we launched the program. And the key thing that, you know, I'm proud of is the female entrepreneurs that come into the program, because you probably, I don't know if you read the Rose review. So Alison Rose, our CEO, she's the first female CEO of any major bank, and she came into post last year. And one of the things she's so passionate about is encouraging more females into entrepreneurship and starting businesses and having the confidence to start businesses. So in the Northeast Hub, we're proud that I think just over 50% of our businesses are female entrepreneurs as well, which, you know, there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't be, and why it shouldn't be higher. But it's just it is something that we're really passionate about within the entrepreneurship team, and we have other programs, other things within our team, within entrepreneurship, such as Dream Bigger, where we actually go into schools, colleges, universities, and work with female students and teach them about entrepreneurial thinking. So it's just to really open their minds to other opportunities and other paths. So it's not to say, okay, we're going to go and talk to you about entrepreneurship and you're going to do this Dream Bigger program, and because entrepreneurship is the only route or the route you should take, but it's about the way that entrepreneurs think, and that entrepreneurial thinking and the growth mindset, and teaching some of those soft skills as well, and the confidence side of things, and really where that can lead. And, you know, it's about building a country that, you know, really inspiring the next generation within our country and within the Northeast. And I know I've mentioned it to a few people within our region in terms of like the LEP and different organisations, but if any schools, colleges, universities do want to find out more about that, it's all free. It's all completely free. There are lesson plans and things that teachers can just roll out as well, and it's all part of it. You know, it's all part of that wider community, and that the overall goal that Alison Rose, the CEO, is trying to is putting in place, and that is to be a purpose-led bank. You know, it's about our communities and inspiring the next generation and encouraging people to start businesses and have the confidence to start business, which, you know, be great for the Northeast as well. But in terms of that support, you know, it's there are, like we've referenced earlier, but there are different programs. So our Business Builder program is, again, everything's free, but the Business Builder program is for those starting out. So if you've got an idea and you're not sure if it's got legs and you just want to see where it goes, so there's a whole online community. There's a Facebook group there as well. but it's like modular online content you can do in your own time. So that's Business Builder if anyone wants to look at that. And then there's obviously the Core Accelerator and Next Level program for scale up businesses as well. So there's a lot to get involved in, and I'm sure, Paul, you'll be on the Next Level program soon.
Okay, let's do it. I think again, just it's stuff like that's what appeals to me about the NatWest Accelerator, as well as it has always looked and felt very accessible and inclusive, which is what I try to do with our events as well. And
yeah.
I mean, we're not at 50%, but like when definitely in the past years when we've had about 70 speakers across the week, it's almost 50-50 male female speakers. And then we did an impact report. Newcastle University published an impact report last year on the impact of Startup Week, and it was about, I think it was a 60-40 split.
Yeah.
40% female attendees, which obviously it'd be better if it was 50, but 40% is a lot higher than most business events and conferences. So that was really good. That's what I want our events to be and our activities to be. Is I want to make it anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what age, what demographic, where you live. If you if you've got an idea and you want to give it a go, then you can.
Exactly. And it's about facilitating that, isn't it? And making sure that everyone feels that they've got a platform, and a community that they can share and discuss. And it's hugely important. Inclusion and diversity is massively important to us, and right from Alison Rose, the way right through our program. Yeah.
Well, cause your stats are, I think they are higher though. So why do you think you're doing so? Is it just you and the team because you're getting out there and you're just making it making a real point of it? Because
so I think it's partly to do with the message, and any opportunity they talk about collaboration and that accessibility. It's about breaking down some of those barriers and purposely looking for those communities that maybe wouldn't necessarily be involved. We're partnered with the Prince's Trust and things like that as well, other programs like that. So right across the board, and some of our other hubs that maybe have higher levels of certain communities in their cities, again, it's all about just that inclusivity. And I think all of us, the people that do my role across the other hubs, we're constantly talking about, have that narrative and talk about that, reiterate that message around it's accessible for everyone. So I'm laughing because there's a spider crawling down my window. It's really often. But yeah, so it is. I don't know why the Northeast is in particular. I'd be interested. I think the left have got a lot of stats. Northeast left have got a lot of stats around kind of the rate at which people are starting businesses and across our region in particular, and different communities and male, female. But I think it's about just getting out there and telling people and sharing it.
Yeah, well, whatever you're doing, it's working, and it definitely it's the right vibe. When you come so you come into the hub and or you're on the Zoom calls as well. Everything that you're saying and putting out, I think is spot on. So keep doing it.
Good to hear, and it's great to have you involved, Paul. And whether it's in a mentor capacity or youth program, obviously I really hope that we can help you accelerate what you're doing and kind of support you on that journey.
Thank you. Well, I am benefiting from it already, and just being part of a cohort is nice as well, to be something bigger. And like you said, being connected to the Brighton hub is pretty cool as well. People who wouldn't normally get to meet, and then some of the people who are on the current cohort from the Northeast are already doing business together as well. So, I've been getting some coaching from Teresa Peters, so I paid her for some coaching, for some business coaching, some leadership coaching. There's a lady, Sophie.
Sophie Gowling.
Yeah, I've paid her for some jewelry. So yeah, so it's
amazing jewelry. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some people that I wouldn't have come across otherwise.
Yeah.
And I just like who they are and what they do. So,
and it is all about supporting each other. You know, we don't say come in, and it's not about coming in and selling to each other at all. But naturally, because you build relationships with people, and naturally you see that actually, wow, that person's really good at that. You know, you want to recommend them, or you want to work with them, or if you need some new coffee, you know, you think actually Ruth in the hub sells coffee, or Anthony in the hub sells coffee. So actually, let me try them. And so it's and we do see that a lot, and that's fine, that's great. You know, we encourage that, it's amazing. But literally anything you need, because it is, you know, right across all sectors, whether it is coffee to marketing support to data optimization to, you know, whatever it is, it's you know, there's someone there that can support you or has done it, or can provide you with that service. So
great. Okay. Is there anything else you want to encourage people?
No, I think
so people can register for the Business Builder anytime, can't they?
Yeah, they can. So if you go to NatWest Business Builder on Facebook, that is where the kind of community lives. And my colleagues in the entrepreneurship team, Josh and Jess, run the Business Builder program. And from there, you'll be able to sign up to Business Builder. And literally just do it in your own time, dip in and out of the modules. And it's from things like pitching to mindset, to creating a business model for growth and things like that. So it's they're topics that you might know of already, but because you're within a community as well, you can really, it's often the nuggets you get from other people, you know, when you kind of watch some of those sessions, and some of them are live as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend that if anyone's kind of on that pre-start or just starting out journey, for sure. And I think some of our colleagues, some of those guys are going to be sharing content throughout this week as well. So Jess is going to do a bit around Business Builder. She might have already done it, or it might be coming. And I know Gordon Merrilees, our Director of Entrepreneurship across NatWest, Ulster Bank and RBS, he's I think spoken already. So yeah, we're all getting involved, and I think Josh is doing a mindset session as well. Yeah.
That will have gone out by
already. Yeah, so if you haven't seen that, scroll up. But yeah, so we're all getting involved. But if anyone wants to chat with me, just have a coffee, you know, anything like that over Zoom or a call, then just give me a shout.
And the main accelerator, that's obviously underway already, but when will the next one start, do you think? Do you know when the date?
So the next one, so at the moment we do an intake of the core Accelerator program every 6 months, and up to 80 businesses can join each one. And so yeah, we've just started the cohort for April, so that will run until October. So applications will open in the summer, so probably around June time. Applications will open for the October start.
Well,
Business Builder, you can join anytime.
Well, we'll share some links underneath the video so people can see exactly where to do that.
Great. Awesome.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We'll leave it for there for now, and yeah, we'll keep chatting. Okay?
Yeah, great. And I hope everyone enjoys the content this week.
All right. Cheers. Thank you.
See you all. Bye.